I will say that I got off the airplane and immediately smoke, dust, and casinos just hit my face all at once. Nevada was a very different experience. It was a bit of a culture shock for me, which is funny to say because it's in the United States. You think it's not that different. It is. So I wouldn't even go so far as to say that state missions can't be different. It was really just kind of strange. And I got there, met my mission president, and he pulled me in for an interview, and I was just exhausted. They do orientation all day long, and I probably slept through half of it. And when I was awake enough to have an interview with him, I was just like, wow, I don't know where I am. What have I got myself into? I just signed up for this for 2 years. It's kind of crazy. So a lot of thoughts going through my head. And it was hard those first couple weeks. All of a sudden you have a guy who is your trainer. And he's the same age, if not maybe even younger than you. And he's supposed to be just teaching you how to step into the world and be an icon for people that can be good or bad. And so it was a very different experience. But I'd say stepping into Nevada was new, but it was kind of invigorating as well in that sense. So the Nevada Reno mission covers from about Tonopah, is about as far south as we go, just a few hours north of Vegas. And that goes up to Idaho and that borderline there, so to the very top there. It stretches out as far east as the Utah border, and then goes as far west into areas like Quincy, Portola, Susanville, out in California. So it covers a decent part of the northern portion of California, and then you have a lot of that northern Nevada area in the mission. Historically, it's a big-time church history area. A lot of Nevada was settled predominantly by LDS settlers who came over, and so you have places like Elko, that was very LDS originally, and then of course Vegas, we know, is originally settled by a lot of LDS people. So there's a pretty strong LDS history to Nevada. What's interesting is that the people in Nevada, while that church culture is still big, have kind of drifted away from that a little bit. So you see a large number of less active and inactive members of the church, or people whose families have generationally been part of the church, but they don't consider themselves or aren't baptized members as of yet. And so you see underground a huge church culture. It's just kind of masked by, I guess you can say, it's people who have kind of fallen away or fallen inactive from that. So it's kind of predominant everywhere. People know the church. They're not unfamiliar with it. As a missionary, you're not going to approach many people who say they've never heard of the church. They probably have, and it's kind of in their faces in Nevada, just in a different way than it would be in Utah. So at least in the Reno mission, there is a temple. It's located in Reno, and that's the only one in Nevada besides the Las Vegas temple. It's a great temple. It's beautiful. And that being said, the religious climate in Nevada is, I would say, pretty strongly religious, just kind of in a different way than we'd expect. You do see a lot of powerful Christian beliefs in Nevada. They're largely non-denominational. You will see different Baptist and other Christian faiths around there as well, but I'd say some of the biggest ones are the LDS Church, Catholic Church, Baptist, and a lot of non-denominational Christians. That's pretty big there. There's also a large number of people, though, who kind of have a little bit of distaste towards religion, and so they've backed off a lot. And so you kind of get a mixed culture. Some who are very heavily religious but don't much like the LDS Church, and then those who just don't care for religion at all and they're really not interested in hearing it. I would say that Nevada has a lot of people that are kind of like cowboys. They're isolationists a little bit. So you don't have a lot of people who know their neighbors very well. They don't really talk to their neighbors. They don't really want to be involved with people or big religious organizations. So even though people are aware of this kind of stuff, they're not often a part of it. I would say if I was going back to Reno and I really wanted to focus on a few things that are most important, I would say that some of the most important things I would really go back to is working on really building up the faith and the strength of the members and of the wards and stakes, and using them even more to really touch the hearts and lives of the people that they're around. There's a lot of people, I think, that can be brought back to the church or can be reintroduced to it, that frankly are affected more by strong members than they are by missionaries knocking on doors and making cold calls. So Missionary work is going to be different kind of anywhere you go, depending on certain methods you might use or things you might focus on. But in the end, it really is always the same generally. You're always teaching about the restored gospel, and you're always helping people to feel loved and understand their purpose and God's plan of salvation. And so I would just say that focusing on the scriptures, on preach my gospel, and on sincerely wanting to love and serve the people that you're called to, are probably some of the biggest things you could do. And I would just say focus on that, and the rest kind of just falls into place culturally. So I served from January of 2013 to January of 2015. I served predominantly in Reno. I spent my first 9 months or so in downtown Reno, right on the strip per se. We had a little apartment off right in downtown that we worked in for a while. I was transferred up to my second area that was just in North Reno and served for a couple months there. Transferred back into downtown Reno, serving in a young single adult ward, and I spent the rest of my mission in YSA wards from that point on. I was serving in downtown Reno for a little while doing that. Then I got moved up to Ely on the far eastern edge of Nevada. It's pretty close to Utah. Served there in a YSA ward for a few months, and then got called back to the Reno Sparks area, and served my mission president there for the remainder of my mission, and had a blast with it.